Let me first greet you by the way we greet our friends all over the world by saying what we say in Arabic, Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon all of you. And let me start by saying thank you for your gracious introduction, Reverend Niwano. And allow me, please, to say a special and deep thanks to Religions for Peace. And to send a special greeting to our friend and my brother, Dr. William Flindley. I just want to tell you something about Dr. William Findley. I've been knowing him for more than 20 years. And I think I took my first courses in dialogue through him. So I am a member of Religions for Peace. Distinguished religious leaders, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor for me to be here with you today in this beautiful and scared place. The magnificent building has been home to many gatherings of religious leaders from different faiths, all united in the goal to promote peace for all people. We meet at a difficult time for humanity. The world is seeing growing conflict and violence. Hatred and fear are causing more and more divisions. In the past years, we have witnessed increasing attacks against innocent people by those who claim to be acting in the name of religion. In these dark times, however, there are three things that give me hope for a better future. The first is the effort of enlightened statesmen and world leaders. The organization I represent as a Secretary General, the International Dialogue Center, or KAICID, was established in 2012 by the governments of Austria, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and the Kingdom of Spain, under the guidance and vision of the late King Abdullah, to promote dialogue among the followers of different religions and cultures as a path to mutual understanding. KAICID was founded in response to growing divided in the world between extremists, both religious and political, and moderate between religious and secular societies, between people of different religions and cultures. It was founded to build bridges between groups of people who would not otherwise have the opportunity to engage in dialogue. We aim to unite the wisdom of religious leaders from diverse traditions, together with diplomats from different countries, for shared goal of peace. The second is the vision of the wisdom of religious leaders. KAICID founded when the late King Abdullah, who as a leader of the Islamic world and custodian of the two holy mosques, the holiest site of Islam, met with His Holiness Pope Benedict in 2007, and they agreed on this shared vision. The work and programs of KAICEED are guided by a board of directors of eminent religious leaders, among whom we are honored to include the Reverend Koshio Niwano. The board of directors come from 5 major world religions: Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, and Judaism, and from many different countries. But they are united in their beliefs that dialogue among followers of different religion is the key of peace and an end to conflict. The third reason for hope is dialogue itself. I have spent my life working for interreligious dialogue, and I have seen time and time again that it can transform violence to peace and to promote understanding and harmony in places of fear and mistrust. Religion governs the lives of millions of people, shapes their worldviews, and guides their behavior. People who are insecure seek assurance, and religion offers many who live with fear the security they seek. For most, this has a positive influence on their lives. For the vast majority of the faithful worldwide, religion is a force for good. By focusing this force in promoting coexistence and mutual understanding, dialogue can strengthen international effort to tackle extremism. For KAICEED, the word dialogue refers to an interaction between people of different identities that emphasize self-expression and listening without judgment. Interreligious dialogue is about people who have different religious identity, seeking mutual understanding that allow them to live and cooperate with each other in spite of their differences. And I see evidence every day that dialogue works. Let me give you some examples. In November of last year, faced with the growing violence in the Middle East, at the request of our board and religious leaders from across the world, KAICEED convened a gathering of religious leaders from the Middle East from many different religions: Islam, Christianity, and many of the religious minorities. These religious leaders unanimously agreed that dialogue, not violence, was the answer to the problem of the region, and dedicated themselves to this goal. We continue to support them in this goal. As a part of the follow-up to this declaration in April, in Fez, Morocco, we worked together with the United Nations to bring together religious leaders from different religions. They discussed how they could address the growing problem of hate speech, language, and the media and elsewhere that promotes hatred of people of other religions, cultures, or nationalities, which can lead to violence. A roadmap was agreed on, and over the next year will be presented across the world. The end goal is a code of conduct for religious leaders to counteract this problem. The next step of this process will be a meeting in Athens in September, in cooperation with the Economical Patriarch, to explore ways in which the Christian and Muslims in the Middle East can support to enhance their relationship of coexistence. Also, under the framework of this declaration, in September, we are partnering with the Royal Institute of Jordan, with Al Azhar University, and with the Middle East Council of Churches to train religious leaders in the use of social media, advocacy, and dialogue so that they can promote messages of peace, coexistence, and diversity. But dialogue does not only work between the East and the West, nor between Islam and Christianity alone. In the Central African Republic, which has seen hundreds of thousands of its people killed, the pretext of religion dialogue is the motive uniting religious leaders within the country to come together with Kaisid support to rebuild the country. And other example is the conflict in Myanmar. We have organized workshops to help bring the two sides together. Dialogue is not restricted to leaders alone. Kaisid works with young people and train religious educators who can teach a new generation of religious leaders to use dialogue in their day-to-day work for peace building and conflict prevention. Many of those we have trained have told us that that they are able to use the potential of interreligious dialogue in their own communities to promote and foster peace. Dialogue among religions is important, but Kaisid also works to promote religious, secular dialogue. We are committed to joining with intergovernmental partners to reinforce and support their work. We reinforce and support the effort of intergovernmental partners, such as UNESCO, ISISCO, the OIC, UNDP, and the UN Office on Genocide Prevention, to name a few. We also train the UN and partners on civil societies, such as Religions for Peace, the Scouts movement, Search for Common Ground, and the United Religions Initiatives. In the use of interreligious dialogue, in fact, at this moment, our experts are training some of 30,000 Scouts gathered here for the World Scout Jamboree in Japan in interreligious dialogue. As I said at the beginning of my speech, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that dialogue works. But dialogue is a long-term process. Often success is measured by the first handshake, the first meeting between people of different religions or cultures. It may not seem dramatic, but I can assure you these moments are very important. In that moment, trust begins to grow for the first time. Thereafter, all the parties in dialogue must work to deepen the trust. In time, they can build bridges between their different religions and cultures. Here in this great sacred hall, I commend Kosei-kai for its commitment to interreligious dialogue over many decades. As you know, Kosei-kai, commitment to peace and dialogue, has brought forth many important and valuable initiatives. those continue to build world peace. For instance, founder of Kosei-kai, Reverend Nico Niwano, was one of the co-founder of the World Conference of Religions of Peace, for Peace. Religions for Peace has grown in memberships and influence to reach the point it is at today. KAICEED was also designed as long-term commitment. Our founders knew that building the trust and bridges taken time. They also knew that our enterprise would face criticism. We would be accused of not achieving results overnight. Early in KAICEED history, we were faced with considerable criticism. I believe that we should be in Japan sometimes. I never seen a crowd attending speeches of KAICEED board of directors or secretary general except in Japan. So you are the one who love dialogue and welcome dialogue. We face demands to denounce sovereign decisions and to force change. If we denounce and issue ultimatums, we cannot build the trust or sustain dialogue. This is especially true when we build the dialogue in regions where laws and values are based on religious values. We cannot demand that the community change their religions, values, and expect to also have a dialogue within them. We cannot think of the world as one copy. The richness of the whole world is to be a diverse. Different cultures, different religion is a richness. The criticism grow and grow. It was difficult period. Influential voices wanted to close the center in Vienna. In the face of criticism, the board was resolute. KAICEED's work is dialogue, is not the denunciation. But sometimes I joke, if we are closed in Vienna, Japan will be ready. Well, we are learning from Religions for Peace. We spoke with as many of our opponents and criticism as possible. We explained that dialogue is the only means to mutual respect and understanding. And believe it or not, dialogues work. Although it was a tough experience and hard experience, but I was talking to Reverend Niwanu during the lunch, explain how the KAICEED staff started dialogue with people who are demonstrating in front of our door. And believe it, in Vienna alone, we made a lot of friends from the demonstrators themselves. because what we believe that we have open doors.
なぜなら私たち会社は開かれたドアを持っているからです。
And if you serve dialogue, you have to believe in dialogue and
私たちはもし対話を尊重し、対話を実行しようとするのであれば、
and no way to exclude anybody. You have to have an open door and an open heart.
誰も排除してはいけません。誰に対してもドアは開いていなければいけないのです。
So the good news, the criticism has diminished.
今では非難
Today.
がなくなりました。
I see a brighter future for dialogue and for Kaisid.
対話の開始度の前には明るい未来が広がっているのが見えます。
And I would like in this time to greet and thank Reverend Niwanu for her great support.
この機会に岩野理事に大きなご協力、お助けをいただいたことを心から感謝申し上げたいと思います。
This result could not have been achieved without the commitment and dedication of the board and her eminence.
皆様、そして岩野法相理事の力がなければ、このような成功はなかったと思います。
I wish to, on behalf of KC, to express my gratitude to Reverend Niwanu
会社を代表して岩野理事に感謝を申し上げます。
for her steadfast support for the Dialogue Center.
頼りない対話センターへのご協力に対して。
In fact, it's really a time to also that the support we are getting from all over the world, we think it's time to expand the area of dialogue
今では世界中の多くの人々から会社に対する協力をいただいております。そしてこの対話ということを世界に広めていきたいと思います。
and use it to support even military operations. If we have to use the military operations, I think dialogue could be the best tool to be used to help accomplish peace and
達成するためには軍事力ではなくて、それと同じくらいの力を持つ対話をもってしなければいけません。
so Reverend Nwanu and Religions for Peace, ladies and gentlemen, I am grateful to all of you.
リージョンズ・フォー・ピース、ここにいらっしゃるすべての皆様方、
Thank you for giving me the chance to speak in front of you. Thank you.